Welcome, everybody, to Faith 180, the podcast where mental health and faith collide. I am one of your hosts, Tom Hazelton, and joining me, as always, is the one, the only, Mr. Jordan Hamilton.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
The theme of COVID, the only reason that show was even popular is because nobody else had anything else to watch.
Yeah, you got the reference. Good.
Yeah, it's my meow meow kitty cat meow meow lane on my kitty cat meow meow bike. I'm Carol Baskin. Like,
What a wild ride that show was.
that show was a wild ride, and like I said, the
Continues to be a wild ride.
only reason why that show was as popular as it was is because we were all locked at home and just needed something ridiculous to take our minds off of the ridiculousness going on in the world at the time.
Yep, I can say that I consumed that.
I crushed
Yep.
that show.
Yep.
I, without shame, will say I crushed that show.
Did she come out with something after? Something like a follow-up
She
or a
was
sequel?
she was on something like Dancing with the Stars or something like that.
Oh, that's kind of cringe.
Yeah, and then there was the sequel. I didn't watch this. I didn't watch season 2 of the show, but
What do you think happened to her husband?
they found him.
Oh,
He
did
was
they?
in like he was in like witness protection in like another
Oh.
country.
Oh, man. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
No, yeah, that was a couple years ago, like a year or two ago, maybe that it came out that he was alive.
They all thought she fed him to a lion.
A tiger.
A tiger. Yeah.
Get your giant cats correct, Jordan.
That tells you how much attention I paid to that program.
Thank you for joining us tonight, everybody.
Yeah. What an
We
intro.
we don't have a plan for tonight. We're just
Nope.
like just do it for the content, and this isn't going to be any deep theological discussion. There isn't going to be any deep revelations. If that's why you're tuning in today, just click off right now.
Yeah. All right. No plan tonight. Nothing. This might have been a good idea, might have been a bad idea.
Truth be told, we are both exhausted. I can tell with how Jordan is lounging with his mic on his tummy and just half laid back.
Yes, it's a tummy. It's not a belly. Thanks,
It's a
Tom.
tummy.
My tummy. Yep. My daughter likes to lift up my shirt and go, "Daddy belly, daddy belly."
My kid likes to go, "Hey dad, your belly jiggles when you walk."
Ooh, yeah, mine's not saying that yet, but it's coming.
It's happening. Maybe you and I should do something about that. Let's start a running club.
Yeah. Can I think about it?
Sure.
I got softball coming up. I mean, it's not a ton, but it is a good way to be active in the summer, twice a week. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I should probably go for walks more and stuff, Tom. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any any local news? I find people enjoy it when we talk about local news or when we reference local things.
Local news as in what?
I don't know, the town spend any money on new roads that you know about? Is
I
is
really don't
is
know.
the mall getting any new stores? Superstore prices through the roof.
Oh, are you familiar with the Superstore boycott?
Not currently, obviously, because I seem to still get my groceries there, but they've suckered me into the points program.
So there's a group on Reddit. They started a subreddit, and it's a group of, I don't know if it's Nova Scotians or Canadians, one or the other. The subreddit is called Loblaws is out of control, and it's like something like 75,000 people who were all boycotting superstores. And
Wow.
I'm just thinking like I get the idea of boycotting a store, but what a lot of people don't realize is the longer you boycott a store, the less profits they're going to make. So they're going to have to raise prices even more to make up for the months in which they were being boycotted.
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I hope that the people that are at the top of those stores, maybe we should all just pray for them. Seems like a bit of greed happening.
oh yeah.
And I get it. Make hay when the sun shines, but yeah, I mean, inflation's through the roof.
Oh, it's
Um,
insane. Like wages are not keeping up with inflation.
No.
People are struggling, and I saw one thing in that subreddit, the Loblaws is out of control. It's like, how can the CEOs of this company sleep at night? And I'm just thinking, on top of their pile of money. Like,
And their sleep number beds,
yeah,
their air
yeah,
conditioned beds.
yeah.
No, it's I seen a TikTok or not a TikTok, it was a YouTube short of Americans at a Canadian grocery store and they're like Perrier bubbling water, 2 for 17.99. Dry flowers, $30. What else did she go to? Something that was a head of cauliflower, 7.99. She's like, what are these prices?
We did groceries here on the weekend, and well, I say we, my wife graciously did groceries because doing groceries is one of my least favorite things in the world. So I stayed
I
home.
used to enjoy it. I
Yeah.
honestly used to love going through the store and trying to find the best deals, and I enjoyed that. And now I just get frustrated.
The only time I enjoyed grocery shopping was during COVID when each aisle was one-way traffic. That's the only time I've
Yeah,
ever enjoyed grocery shopping.
it's
A
one
lot
of
of
the
people,
reasons I don't go to Walmart is just how like there's always somebody right behind you, and it's oh man, I just need a second to at least look at the pasta sauces. I like, come on, man, you're right on my heels with your cart.
or or the people who take up the entire lane talking because they haven't seen each other in 45 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Since the poultry section.
So what was I was telling a story about something before we got sidetracked.
I'm sure this is
Uh,
other people's experiences as well.
yeah, I was talking about something about grocery stores. What were we
The
talking about, Jordan? We were
boycott?
talking
There was a boycott? You
the boycott, the 66,000 people, 75,000 people, sleep
prices.
inflation. I don't know. I'm gonna listen back to this. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that was the point I was going to make.
Well,
But
if you
yeah,
think of
no,
it, I mean, there's no agenda, so I mean, we're not rushing into anything. So if it comes to you back to your brain,
yeah,
if it comes back to your brain, Tom, that's
it's
okay.
gone.
I
It's
mean,
gone.
this is a ramblesode, a ramble episode.
The Ramblesode. There's our title.
The ramblesode.
Wow, man.
We're just
Yeah,
rambling.
it's gone. It's left my head forever. We were talking about grocery stores, superstore, Walmart. The only time I've ever enjoyed grocery shopping. I don't know. It's gone.
COVID one-way aisles.
Yeah. Anyway, so how you been, buddy? How you led worship there on Sunday?
Yeah, how was that?
It was good.
I don't get to
I
hear I
I
don't get to hear myself.
I
I
enjoy.
kind of
Why
do.
not?
Well, I kind of get to hear myself, but
Don't you have in-ear monitors?
I do, but I don't really hear how it comes out in the room. And
No,
I
it
don't
came
I
out
don't
great.
I don't know how it's perceived. And I should go back and watch. I haven't been just because I don't know. I'll
It's
probably
uh
go.
it's it's difficult to watch yourself sometimes, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just kind of like
we
I have
sung
people.
we sung that one song quite different just to try to be energetic.
Mhm.
So I don't know how Welcome the Healer. How did that go over?
I thought it was great. I had absolutely no issue with the set list. I thought it
Cool.
was good. I thought it was well performed. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed your Bible reading of going to the well and how you're still going to the well even in the afternoon. I thought that was a pretty good metaphor, if you will.
Yeah, I when I first read the story of the woman at the well, I mean, there's more to it, and in a 1 minute blip, it's hard to touch on every. Did you just have an epiphany?
I remembered what I was going to talk about earlier.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Just note that I'm talking about the woman at the well.
Yeah, you're talking about the woman at the well and John. Okay. So my wife graciously did groceries. We were talking about prices in Americans in Canada,
Yep.
talking about the ridiculousness of the prices. So my wife was doing groceries and she came back with the groceries and she's like, "Do you know what's ridiculous?" I go, "What?" She goes, "This bag of grapes," and she holds up the bag of grapes she bought. She goes, "Was the exact same price as this package of toilet paper." And we buy the big toilet paper, so we don't have to buy toilet paper for a long time. And yeah, it like a package of
Oh,
grapes was the
that's
same
I
as the
can see
32.
I can see Jess doing that.
Yeah, as she's like, "Ah, this bag was the same price
Tom,
as this toilet paper."
Tom, do you want to know something? This bag
Have
of
you?
grapes was the same price as this big bag of toilet paper.
You know what? Your inflection is kind of when she's making a point. That's kind of how she sounds.
She's not
I
going to
love you,
listen to
honey.
this. She's not going to
Oh,
listen to it.
she might. She
No,
listens to our episodes.
cut that part out.
Keep it. All right, lady at the well and John.
Well, see, at first when I read it, like I kind of viewed it as because the song we were singing was "We will not resist your heart." That was the line. It just felt that morning that there has been some resistance, and I myself am guilty. I resist God sometimes and what he wants for me. And I thought, you know what? Going to the well in the afternoon, that was that woman's kind of act of resistance. That was kind of my thoughts about it. She didn't want to run into anybody. She didn't think she was certainly going to run into Jesus at the well.
Which, yeah, which is why she was going in the middle of the day when it was the hottest because she didn't want to run into anybody.
Yes, and the part that I didn't get a chance to talk about was she was I think a Samaritan woman, and Jesus was a Jew, and they typically didn't communicate with one another.
Did you not talk about it because your Bible closed on you and you spent 30 seconds trying to find the passage again?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You were at the early service,
Or I
obviously.
was at I was at the 9:30. Yeah.
It went much better at the next one.
Oh, good.
Yeah, right after that, I lost my in-ear monitors. I stepped on the cable and they came out.
Was
So
this at
I
the 9:30 or the 11?
9:30.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
didn't even
if you
notice.
didn't notice, great, because that was the goal. The keyboard player didn't notice, and he was right behind me. But yeah, I had a split second where I was like, well, I either sing this song and I won't be able to hear myself, or I put these back in and it's just okay. I bent over for a second. So I put them back in so I could hear myself. And
I didn't.
if you don't know what that experience is like, it's like being in the middle of a mosh pit at a concert and singing and trying to hear yourself singing
I've
with
been in.
everyone else that's singing and the music that's coming at you. You can't hear yourself basically.
I have never been in a mosh pit, but I have been around several mosh pits, and I remember I was at a concert just literally back in March, and there was mosh pits happening. Like if I stuck my arm out, my arm would have been in the mosh pit, and I'm just thinking I am way too old to be anywhere near that.
Yeah, and another cool behind the scenes thing is, and I don't know if people know this, but we have what's known as a musical director each
Hmm.
week, and they communicate with us in our ears.
It looks like they're singing into a microphone, but really they're communicating with you.
Yeah, my sister once asked me about somebody that was on stage and asked why they would dance and only sing every few seconds, and I had to tell her that no, they were talking to us.
So, out of
But
curiosity, what is the music director saying?
sometimes they make jokes, which is fun, but a lot of it is just direction of where we're going with the song. So, yeah, there's a bit of a dance to it, and I won't go into details, but they're there to help make calls in the moment about musical direction. So, sometimes we sing three bridges, sometimes we sing five. Sometimes we go back and sing things again. All of that is being communicated from the musical director, and they also help like count us into things, tell band members when to start playing, so they'll cue music. And to be honest, it's great. It's a lot more difficult when you don't have that because then I have to kind of signal. This is a real deep dive into the worship world, but it's the stuff people don't see, I guess, every week. We do a lot. We rehearse for, 2 hours on once a week and then again in the morning. But it's super helpful having the musical director because it kind of frees me up to worship, which is the whole point of it.
Yeah, I didn't notice your in-ear fumble, I guess you can say. Strictly because, and don't judge me for saying this, I have to kind of set the stage. Sweet Tarts, the candy, they make like a candy rope, kind of like a licorice, but
Yeah.
it's not really a licorice. They make a candy rope and they make a blue one. And I remember at one point on Sunday thinking, man, Jordan's blue patch cord looks like a really long blue sweet tart rope, and how I would be like, oh man, I wish I had one that long right now. I'm not
Oh
joking. That
man.
that did cross my mind when I was watching the worship. I'm like, oh man, I just want a blue sweet tart rope, and I want it that long.
That cable is nice. It's like a professional one and
Is it
it lays on the floor. It's not made of candy.
is it blue raspberry flavor?
I have not licked it.
You should and let me know.
I have not.
So fun fact about this month. You had actually texted it to me the other day.
Yeah.
Not only is this month the anthem of every April 30th sung by Justin Timberlake, letting us know what month it's going to be. It's gonna be May. But this is also a pretty, I guess you could say, relevant month to our podcast as a whole. And would you like to tell everybody what this month is, Jordan?
It's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, so I didn't even know this was a thing. May
No, I
apparently
didn't either.
is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I was doing a little bit of research on Mental Health Awareness Month. And do you know when May was designated as Mental Health Awareness Month? What year? If you had to guess, if you had to be like, this is the year that May was picked for Mental Health Awareness Month,
2020.
2020. That's what is that your final answer, as Regis Philbin would ask.
Correct. Yep.
So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental Health Awareness Month has been a cornerstone of addressing the challenges faced by millions of Americans. This is, the American website, living with mental health conditions. And it has been the month of May since its inception in 1949.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my reaction. I was like, this has been like
It's never talked about. I've never
It's
heard
never,
of it.
no. And we've talked about it before about how mental health has always just been such a taboo thing that people would talk about,
Is this
bringing
the
up.
Bell Let's Talk month?
No, that's January. January is Bell Let's
Yeah,
Talk.
that's weird. Do you think they would
Yeah,
align that with May?
you would think. But again, like, did Bell even know that May was Mental Health Awareness Month? But yeah, like up until recently, and it even still is, but I find it's getting better, as time goes on. Just anytime anybody admits, oh, hey, they're having issues with their mental health, they think they're weak, they think everything along those lines. And not only that, but I mean, just reeling it back into the faith aspect here, even in a church setting, like you can ask any pastor and they'll tell you that the church has done a terrible job at helping, coach people through any sort of mental health. I don't want to use the term crisis, but any mental health, journey that they're going on. And I think of a lot of it has to do with the fact that, pastors are really good at talking about the scriptures and what the scriptures say, because that's what they went to school for. But they're not really good at handling the mental health side of things because that's not what they went to school for. Like if someone comes to them with a mental health problem, it's easy for them to say, well, this passage of the Bible says this and this says this, and you need to pray more and you need to do this. But it's getting better. That's all I can say.
I
I
need to
mean,
pray more.
oh, we all need to pray more.
Yeah, I need to pray more.
Yeah. Yep.
Guilty. It's interesting you bring that stuff up because if things kind of go to plan, we're gonna hopefully be talking to one or possibly two sets of people that
Hmm.
are now focused on mental health in the church,
Yeah. And mental
and
health and ministry.
have started programs. And I think that'll be really cool to talk about because I think it's new age for the
Mm,
church, but it's being highlighted because I think a lot of pastors are now realizing the importance of it, from a top down level, and
right.
and a lot of them are accessing the supports, so they uh, they understand it as a thing,
Right.
a real thing.
I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like if
Say it
you
again,
don't
Tom. Say it
I'm
again.
saying it again. But if you yourself don't suffer from any sort of mental health, again, I don't want to use the term troubles, But if you don't have any mental health, troubles, you know somebody who does. You know somebody who's affected by it. Like it if it's not you directly, you indirectly know somebody, and it is a part of your life. And a lot of it just comes from the fact that, we're talking about it more and we're able to address it more, and people are not using mental health diagnoses as like a sentence. Like their mental health conditions don't define them anymore. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that that's not happening at all ever, because it is, but I'm finding less and less that people are more accepting not only of people with mental health diagnosis, but getting their diagnosis as well. So
Yeah, or of Christians in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's important that, you know what? Pastor Brett had a great sermon Sunday.
He sure did.
And I remember he made a joke in the second service that I don't think he made in the first one, and that was that Leafs fans know what it's like to be
No, he made that joke. Yeah.
steadfast.
Yep.
So that's where my head's at with this, in this being that I think Christians are getting compartmentalized under a far right extreme bubble,
Okay. Yep.
and I don't think that is the general consensus of most Christians and
No.
people with Christian values. My thought is, and I think, biblically, is to be steadfast and to stand in what we believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And
But the door's closing. Yeah, I know.
correct.
I know what you're saying now. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's kind of funny because
Relevant
yeah, just
sermon for sure.
oh yeah, 100%. Now that you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, it's true. I should even just go back and listen to it. Just some of the conversations that I've had with people over the years since coming back to faith. Like once the topic that I am a person of faith comes up, people will either stop talking, clam up altogether, or they're very outgoing with what they're going to say. And, oh, so you must believe this, 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 and this. And I'm like, no, I don't personally. I'm not saying that there aren't Christians who do believe this, 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 and this. I'm sure there
Correct.
are.
Yeah.
But me personally, I do not believe in this, 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 and this. And here's why. And we'll have a conversation. And like I have one friend of mine, he goes he's not a person of faith, and he himself cannot get behind the idea of faith because he sees the extreme of faith, like the hills people will die on in using their faith as the reason for it. And I remember saying to him, I'm like, dude, like you're not against religion, you are just against what religion has done to people, and like the extremes that they have taken it. That's what you're against. You are against the fragility of man, is what you're against, who have taken words that are, let's be honest here, a lot of what's written in the Bible is written in a way that it is open to interpretation, and they've taken their interpretation and have made it something that this person doesn't agree with. And I'm like, yeah, that's not what it's about, man. Like that is not what it's about. A lot of people, I say all the time, they'll read the first two-thirds of the Bible, which is the Old Testament, and then they forget to read the last third where this dude named Jesus came and said, hey, you've gotten so much wrong over the last little while. I'm gonna try and fix it. But again, man is so fragile that, you know, we we didn't listen.
Yeah, we're certainly, I guess, getting painted with a broad brush. Is that the
Mm-hmm.
correct reference? I'm not going to get into any arguments with people.
Nope.
Um, I just don't think that we all need to be clumped together. You can be a follower of Jesus and have a difference of opinion with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that is okay.
I mean,
Um,
Jesus himself said, "Go out and love everyone." You know.
Yeah, and who was I talking to about this? Where you used to go, I was talking to somebody, and they said they remember their dad or their parents had people over all the time and they would just talk and then they'd argue and then they'd talk and like it was okay to have a difference of opinion. And they missed that. I forget who I was talking to about that, but like I get it. There's some things that get heated really quickly.
Religion and politics are the
Yeah,
two.
yeah. And I think in those situations, holding steadfast and then seeking the truth and then holding true to what you believe in
Hmm.
is I think what we're being recommended to do.
Holding true to what you believe in despite the doors that are going to close because you're holding true to it.
Some doors will close, but here's what I've learned. The ones that open,
Yeah.
that's just
There,
something to chew on there, folks.
there is that one open door and it's always there to steal it from Brett Laidlaw.
Yeah.
Speaking of Brett Laidlaw, I made a joke after the first sermon to him, and I am very happy to say he then took that joke and used it in the second sermon. And
Did
I
he?
was
I didn't
very
hear
happy.
it.
Well, he didn't use the joke verbatim. So do we have time to say what it is?
I don't care. I
Okay.
mean,
So he was
we got a couple minutes left if we hold true to our timeline, but go
so
ahead.
for those of you who weren't there, he was talking about we're in the book of Revelation, and he was talking about the Church of Philadelphia. And in the first sermon, he said, "It's not the one you're thinking of." And I'm like, "Okay, haha, that's funny." So after the sermon was done, I went up, I talked to him, I said, "Hey, good sermon, good whatever." And the joke I said to him was, I go, "Brett, man, I go, I've seen every episode, and I don't remember that from any episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air."
Ugh.
Was the joke that I had said because he's from West Philadelphia. So Brett's like, there might be a joke there somewhere. I said, "Hey, make it happen." So I tuned in and watched the second sermon just to see if he would do something. And he was like, "Philadelphia, not the one you're thinking of. The Fresh Prince wasn't from there." I'm like, "Oh, Brett, he did it."
I must have walked out before he said it. No, because I usually go out and get some water, but yeah, the whole time I was thinking about that reference and
Yeah,
wondering if other people were thinking about it, but it's probably only you, Tom.
probably.
I
Did
think
I say that
probably.
joke to you too in between
Um,
sermons? I think I
I
did.
think you just mentioned what you had said briefly,
Yeah,
but then yeah, the whole time I was thinking about that.
yeah. Because in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playgrounds where he spent most of his days.
Yeah, that would have been quite the American history story.
Exactly. Yeah, that's basically all I got, buddy. I figured we would just get on and do a ramblesode.
Yeah, we certainly rambled.
If you like these more just laid back, just Jordan and I just getting on and talking into a microphone for a few minutes, let us know. We're trying a couple things with our content here. I have a couple ideas to start posting on Facebook to expand our content a bit more. But yeah, if you just like these more laid back, hey, we don't have any sort of outline or anything we want to get across, let us know because I mean I'm more than willing to do some of these ramble sods.
Oh, Tom, I was gonna ask, do you want to hear the first four lines to the song I'm writing?
I would love to.
Okay, it's called Stubborn Lamb, copyright 2024. Stubborn Lamb, I see you're lost again.
Why aren't
You,
you singing it?
'Cause I don't know the beat. I don't want to give it away.
Okay. 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 I'm gonna close my eyes and pretend you're on stage.
And I'm holding a banjo.
Yeah. Done.
Okay.
Do you have a cowboy hat?
Um, Kind of like the Wild West style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Got it. Got it. It's in there. It's in the mental
Okay.
the mental theater
Um,
here.
Stubborn lamb, I see you're lost again. You can't outrun the Father. You can't outrun your sin. Stubborn lamb, you know it's not the end. There's sinners at my table, and I eat with them.
It's beautiful. It's
Is it
beautiful.
good?
I like it. I can't wait to hear it like fully composed and with a band.
Yeah, we got a mandolin now, so we're adding
Oh,
the mandolin to it. So it'll
you're
be
adding the Mandalorian. Nice.
the mandolin, the banjolorian, and the guitarlorian. The guitar Lorian. Doesn't really work, but
And then you're gonna drive in on a DeLorean.
the DeLorean. Great
Yeah.
Scott! Great Scott, Tom.
That is the most perfect movie that has ever existed.
They're the most weird one too.
Have I gone into my love of Back to the Future?
No, I mean I'm a fan. Until you kind of realize what the storyline is, it's just weird, you know.
Okay.
Like think about this, Tom, and they don't explain it ever. Why was Marty best friends with like this really old scientist?
So there's been several like there were several script drafts that did explain it. But I think the one that is universally explained is Doc Brown is like the town eccentric. So Marty and his friends broke into his lab one time, and Doc caught him and just, basically was like, "Hey, to make it up to me, start working for me," type deal. And that's why they're friends.
Okay.
That was in one of the script. But yeah, you're correct. In the movie, it's not explained at all. Just, hey, here's this, you
Yeah.
know,
This
in the words
this
in the
old
words
guy
of
is best friends with this boy.
Professor Strickland. No, that's what he said about his dad. What did he say about Doc Brown? I don't remember what he said. He said his dad was a slacker, though. Slacker. So I'm going to tell you my love of Back to the Future quickly, and to the three people who are still listening to this episode. So my
Yeah.
birthday is July 2nd, 1985. And guess what movie was in theaters on July 1st, 1985? You are correct. Back to the Future.
Oh
So
wow.
the number one movie of the year, 1985, happened to come out a day before I was born. Second of all, I have a tattoo on my left arm. It's this one here. That is the blueprints for the flux capacitor, which is what makes time travel possible. You
Oh
see, there was
my.
one time in 1955 when Doc Brown he was hanging a clock in his bathroom, and he was standing on the toilet, but the porcelain was wet, and he fell and he hit his head, and he was knocked out. When he came to, he had a revelation, a vision, the flux capacitor, which is what makes time travel possible. Second, when my wife was pregnant for our child,
Yep.
we watched Back to the Future on November 22nd, 1955. Or, sorry, November 20th,
1955.
1955.
Now
We
that makes
watched
you the weird old guy.
October 22nd, 2015, which is the day that they go into the future in Back to the Future Part 2. We're like, hey, it's Back to the Future Day. Let's watch it. So we're watching the movie, and through the movie, I looked at her and I said, huh, Emmett. She goes, what do you mean? I go, Emmett. Dr. Emmett Brown? Emmett. Perfect name. That's what we named our kid. So I can honestly say
Oh
that my
wow.
child was named after Dr. Emmett Brown when we were watching Back to the Future on Back to the Future Day in 2015.
The title doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it does. They have to get back to the future.
Yeah, but they don't go back to the future.
Yes, they do. In the first movie, Marty gets stranded in 1955 and he has to figure out a way to get back to 1985. So they use the lightning from the Hill Valley Clock
Yeah,
Tower
but
to
it's
get
not
back to 1985.
it's not the future because he's already there.
But he has to get back to the future.
Yeah, but it's
The
not the
future from
future.
1950.
He
So
came
you think
from
it should be,
there. So
so it should be called Back to the Present?
he went to the past to come to the future.
Yeah, he had to get back to the future. He got stuck in the past.
No, that's not right. Come back to the present. It should be back to the
No.
present because he
Nope.
left the present.
The present is
Tom, think
fleeting,
about it.
Jordan. The present is
Oh
fleeting.
yeah,
You know what? Me by
sure,
saying
sure,
hey,
sure. You're just
by
inventing a
no,
time.
by the time I say, hey, we're living in the present, it's already in the past.
So what? He's not going to the. He doesn't go to the future. At no point does he go to the future. He
Yeah,
returns
he
to the.
does. In
He
the second
returns to the
movie, he goes to
present.
2015 from 1985. He's going to
Okay,
the future.
okay. So they got it right in the second movie. Good, good.
There it
He
is.
did go to the future.
Yes.
Well, then that makes sense for the second movie.
Okay, so in the first movie, he goes from 1985 to 1955. He gets stranded in 1955 and has to figure out a way to get back to
To the present.
1985, which is the future
Present.
from 1955.
It's
When
the
he's back in
present.
1985, Doc Brown shows up and says, "Hey, we got to take you to
He's
2015 because something happens to your kids."
he's
So they
back in
go
the
to
he's back in the past.
so they go to 2015, then they go back to 1985, but it's an alternate 1985 because Biff stole the time machine and went back to
No.
1955 and altered the present that they go back to in 1985. So then they have to go back to 1955 to fix it to make 1985 the regular present, but then Doc Brown gets sent to 1885, and then Marty has to go to 1885 to get him to bring him back to 1985.
Which is the present.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. This was Faith 180. We really had not really much talk about faith or even mental health, just an argument about Back to the Future. But if you want
Yeah.
more content like this, let us know.
Check out next week's episode with Nathan Maskery, Cal's son, who we had on earlier. Nathan was incredible to talk to. He's moving to Halifax from Thunder Bay to take over Deepwater Church there. So if you want to check out that interview, make sure you come back in a week and go back and listen to Tanya Nace.
Go back to the future.
Yeah, go back to the past and then listen up to the future. Oh man, we need sponsors. Yep. Yep, so we can come up with better ideas. Oh man.
Catch you next time, guys.
Yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. Good night.
Faith 180 is an independent podcast produced and hosted by Thomas Hazelton and Jordan Hamilton. Producer and editor Justin Gaudett. Theme song Goodbye Ol' Me from the album First Things First, used with permission and performed by Consumed by Fire. Available on all streaming platforms. Visit consumedbyfire.com and follow the band on social media, linked in the description of this episode. Follow Faith 180 on Facebook or email us at faith180crew@gmail.com.